Wassell Street in Wichita. That's the location of the Joyland Amusement Park. The call came in around 7 o'clock Saturday evening. The fire started on a ride in the middle of the park, and the embers spread to create some smaller fires that were extinguished. Doug Winter with the Wichita Fire Department.
The structure was a pretty big magnitude, and the embers that came off landed throughout the park. We're currently trying to mop all that up.
That audio courtesy of KSN. The fire chief also said that throughout town the last few days they've received calls of vacant buildings catching fire and urging citizens to secure vacant properties to reduce the risk of fire. A pedestrian is hospitalized after being hit near a crosswalk in West Wichita. Dispatch confirmed the pedestrian suffered serious injuries, though they were not believed to be life-threatening. The incident happened at Ridge and O'Neill near 2nd Street. From the KQAM News Desk, I'm Trace Tall. Latest news on KQAM is brought to you by Phil's Coins, buying, selling, and trading with honesty and integrity for all your gold and silver needs. 9344 West Central Avenue and online at philscoins.com.
All three teams in the state of Kansas picked up college basketball wins over the weekend. Wichita State got a little bit tighter than they would have liked, but they take down Norfolk State. KU with a monstrous win in the reinvigoration of their rivalry with Missouri. 102-65, the final score in that one, as Christian Brown and DeJuan Harris power up to take down the Tigers. And then yesterday, K-State with a big victory over Green Bay, 82-64. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth. KQAM Sports is brought to you by the Keg Sports Bar and Grill, your new home to kick back and enjoy your favorite game.
Having trouble finding a new car this holiday season? Can't wrap your mind around paying massive markups? At Midwest Kia, during the Kia Command the Season sales event, you won't have to worry about being left with a lump of coal. Grab your holiday spirit and head to Midwest Kia to put your name on one of over 200 new 2022 Kias that will be here in time for Christmas. And Midwest Kia has the better way to buy with the inventory to match. Never priced above sticker, all with the best stocking stuffer in town. Kia's amazing 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Plus, we want to get you approved, even when the other guys have said no. With as little as $600 cash or trade, you could get your credit back on track and get into a brand new Kia today. For the best car buying experience in town, visit Midwest Kia or MidwestKia.com, and you'll see why people are singing,
"We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia."
On select models with approved credits, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for details.
The weather is colder this time of year, so that chip in your window is something to fear.
Hey, Glass Man.
The Glass Man can fix that chip, making your windshield like new before it turns into a crack, making you feel blue.
Hey, Glass Man.
If your windshield is already cracked, getting it replaced now is how you should act.
Hey, Glass Man.
So if glass in your vehicle has caused you some stress, call 669-GLASS and get it fixed for less. HeyGlassman.com is where you go to ensure a clear view. Schedule your appointment with the Glassman crew.
Hey, Glass Man.
Market information from the Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Andy Hooser, wrapping up today for a Monday. Looking at your cash grain reports for the states of Kansas and Oklahoma. Kind of mixed today. Wheat and milo saw a little bit of a bump. Corn and soybeans were down just a slightly today. So kind of mixed all over the place for your different co-ops across the two different states. Starting off with your Goodland Co-op in Goodland, Kansas, we saw ending prices of wheat today at $7.64, $6.05 at the corn, $5.95 of the milo, and beans at $11.69. In Belleville, Kansas, wheat today was at $7.80. We had $5.70 for the corn, $6 even in the milo, and $11.79 in your soybeans. Over in Concordia, Kansas, wheat today was at $7.90. We had the corn at $5.80, $6.10 in the milo, and $11.89 in your soybeans. Over in Sumner County Terminal, $7.93 was the price of wheat today, $5.80 in the corn, $6.10 in the milo, and $11.94 in the soybeans. In Fredonia, Kansas, wheat today was at $7.65, corn at $5.60, $5.68 in the milo, and $12.03 in your beans. In the western part of the state at Garden City, Kansas, wheat today $7.93, $6.15 in the corn, $5.95 in the milo, and $11.61 in your soybeans. And in Coffeyville, Kansas, we saw $7.59 for the price of wheat, corn at $5.63, milo at $5.85, and $12.07 in your soybeans. Down in Oklahoma, we'll start off with Perry, Oklahoma. Wheat today at $7.76, $5.62 in the corn, $5.85 in the milo, and $11.89 in the beans. And in the panhandle of Hooker, Oklahoma, wheat today was at $8.07, $6.35 in the corn, $5.95 in the milo, and $11.20 in your soybeans. So pulling out that calculator, looking at averages today, we saw wheat at $7.80. That was up by a penny from Friday last week. Corn with an average of $5.86, down 7 pennies from last week. $5.93 with the average of milo, up a penny as well. And soybeans with an average of $11.79.
Lots of sunshine this afternoon in Wichita and temperatures warming back into the middle 60s. South wind 6 to 12. We'll keep that south wind tonight despite the clear sky. Lows only dropping to about 42. For Tuesday, a few more clouds, breezy and turning warmer. Highs back near 70. With your forecast, I'm meteorologist Frank Waugh.
KQAM Weather Center update presented by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
At 4:06, it's currently 63 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
What a wild weekend. I got to say, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and we are smack dab right in the middle of it, and we try to keep you posted on all of it and a heck of a lot more. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. I hit a bit of a panic button today because I realized that next weekend is the last weekend before Christmas. We have exactly 1 week left before Christmas. Next week, I know I'm reiterating myself, next week is Christmas. I don't know if you're prepared for that one or not, so get prepared and be ready, I guess, because that's all I have to say about that. Welcome into the program, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station all over the country, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Thanks for joining us, your Millennial General reporting for duty like we do every day. We got one heck of a show lined up today. I'm going to try and cover as much of it as we can. There's more than what we can cover in a 1 hour program, which means we probably need to extend the show at some point because, good golly, we have Peter Navarro, former Trump advisor. He's joining us at the bottom of the hour as he is ignoring a subpoena from House Democrats. Because what are they doing? They don't have any other issues apparently to work on. They don't have inflation rates. They don't have, a violation of freedoms. They don't have vaccine mandates. They don't have serious issues going on right now. They need to worry about what Trump was doing, and they're opening up investigations on literally everything the Trump administration has done over the last 4 years. Right now they have the January 6th investigation going on, which is stupid in its own mind. But now they've opened up an investigation on the former administration's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, that's where we're at now. That's where we're at now. Just throwing that. That's where we're at now. We are doing an investigation on the COVID response. Did he properly handle the COVID-19 pandemic in a way that Democrats wanted him to handle it, by shutting things down, forcing people into vaccines, not allowing people to actually go out and actually function in society at all? He didn't handle it the best way. So now they've subpoenaed Peter Navarro, former Trump advisor, to come in and talk about the administration's response to COVID-19. We'll talk with Peter coming up at the bottom of the hour here in just a little bit. First and foremost, I got to throw this out there. I talked about it on Saturday on my local program here in the Wichita area, and we wanted to give our thoughts and prayers out to everybody affected by the tornadoes that happened on Friday and over the weekend, because good golly, there were like 24, 26 different tornadoes in 6 or 7 different states. It was one of the longest lasting tornadoes. There were multiple ones all over. It covered multiple different states. They were high-end tornadoes, and it's very sad. It's very scary. I get it. I live in the Wichita area in Kansas. I mean, the National Weather Center's tornado chasers are based out of Kansas, where I'm at. So we get the tornado thing. We didn't have any in our area, but I get it. So thoughts and prayers out to everybody destroying buildings left and right, destroying complete towns, destroying an Amazon building, destroying nursing homes, and killing over 100 people as of right now. I think in Kentucky alone, they've confirmed like 75 deaths. So it's a terrible ordeal, and it's frustrating to hear the politics come out of an issue like this promoting climate change, which this to them helps build this Build Back Better plan that they're trying to promote and go on the campaign tour with right now. They're saying, oh, look at this. We're trying to rebuild the country so where we don't promote things and put things out into the atmosphere, because that way we don't have things like this. And it's sad that they're trying to politicize. But again, never let a crisis go to waste, right? I mean, that's the Democrat motto, and that's what they've done. So it's sickening, it's saddening, and it's frustrating. But thoughts and prayers to everybody out in these states that have been affected by this. I've been watching some of the video. It's terrible. I've been watching some of the rebuild and where the ruble's at right now. It's absolutely devastating. So it's heartbreaking. I don't know what we can do with it. Maybe we should try and put together some type of fund to donate to some organization or charity trying to help out. I don't know. We'll have to work on something like that. But it's terrible, and it breaks my heart to see that people are actually having to go through some of this stuff. So, I mean, outside of that, there's no other politics to talk about. We could talk about the climate change issue and how it's a bunch of crap from the Democrats, but we already know this issue. We've had Gregory Wrightstone on the program many times from the CO2 Coalition. There's nothing new to talk about here. It's not related to climate change. Man-made climate change. It's not related to global warming. It's just a phenomena that unfortunately happens. And it happened a little bit later in the season because it's been warmer for a later period. Here in the Wichita area where I'm based out of, it's mid-60s today. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 70 degrees. 70 degrees. In mid-December, it's 70 degrees in Wichita, Kansas. That, to me, says that things are just a little wonky. Now, when winter does hit, it's going to hit with a vengeance, or it could be reasonably not bad and pretty mild this year, which I'm okay either way, honestly. I am enjoying wearing shorts still in the middle of December. I didn't wear any today, but I've been wearing shorts and enjoying that. At the same time, when it gets really, really cold, I'll enjoy that as well because I enjoy the cold exposure for the health benefits of that too. So either way, I'm okay. I'm not one of those people that likes to complain about the weather no matter what the weather is. I know a lot of people that do that. I don't. I take it whatever comes and okay, cool. It's 80 degrees. Let's party, baby. Or it's negative 20. That's cool. Let's go outside and do some cold exposure, baby. I'm all about it either way. Really doesn't bother me. But the never let a crisis go to waste. We're seeing that being applied to just about every policy from Washington, D.C. right now in every aspect. Not just Washington, D.C., really every state government as well. We have the Biden administration still desperate to try and win over approval ratings. And it's not working. They're not doing it, but they're desperate to try and win over back their approval rating going into midterm elections. There's a video floating around right now on social media from the Biden admin page, the Joe Biden page on Facebook. I'm sure he put it on other social media as well. I saw it on Facebook here, where they're trying to inflate the number of jobs that Joe Biden has created since he took office just 10 months ago. And they're trying to show how popular that Joe Biden actually is by inflating said numbers. Now, just in case you were unaware, there was a COVID-19 pandemic that hit over the last year or so. Just throwing it, you may not have noticed, may not have crossed your path, may not have affected you in some way, shape, or form, but there was a global pandemic where we shut down half of the country. Joe Biden's trying to take credit for all the jobs that are coming back by businesses reopening after the pandemic. I know. Here's what they said on the page on Joe Biden. Since I was sworn in on January 20th, our economy has created nearly 6 million jobs, a record for a new president. Now, it's one of those little scale things that you see, and it increases, and it says jobs created in the first 10 months of a presidency. Under Biden, the economy has outperformed the past 4 Republican president job growth numbers. Now, they're not talking about Democrats. It's specifically Republicans because look at all the great jobs that we've created as Democrats because he's created nearly 6 million jobs. Now, it's just not true. It's a lie. It's a farce. And I think people are starting to realize, wait a second, you're blowing a lot of smoke up here. You're putting on the smoke screen and you're lying, not even trying to hide it. You're just openly lying just because. When the economy shut down in 2020, obviously because of COVID-19, it was something that was advised to President Donald Trump because he was so unpopular. He didn't handle things properly. He didn't do things right. And they told him you need to shut down the economy, make non-essential businesses shut down, try and shut down the mom and pop shops because, well, you could be spreading COVID unless you actually take these precautions. So we did. We had a massive skyrocket of unemployment claims all over the nation. And we had COVID-19, obviously, relief come from the federal government to help departments of labor across the different states to try and help out with these ridiculously high unemployment numbers because you weren't allowed to work. You weren't allowed to go to work. You weren't allowed to open up your shop unless you were a Democrat shop that actually serviced different elected officials on the Democrat side. Then you were allowed to, but you weren't able to. Now we're opening things back up. Now, we still have an over 4% unemployment rate in the nation, so we haven't even gotten back to where we were. Under Trump, and rightly pointed out by some individuals on social media that were commenting on this, Trump got it down in the 2% for unemployment rates. He fine-tuned it. We have never been that low in like less than 20 or 30 years. He fine-tuned the system by creating jobs for inner-city communities, for minority communities that don't normally get these opportunities. He was able to create opportunities by getting more people into the workforce like never before. The economy was rocking, baby. And then COVID hit. Things shut down. They blamed Trump for a bad economy after telling him he had to shut it down. So when things opened up, let me ask you a question. When things open up again, do you... I know, this is a very difficult challenge. We need to make this a game show, apparently. When things open up and people go back to the jobs that they had prior to COVID-19, is it replacing a job that was there before, or was it creating a new job? Let's think about that for a second. According to Joe Biden, they say that it's creating a new job. Oh, man. No, that's not the case at all. We still have an unemployment rate higher than what it was under Donald Trump right now, but yet they're claiming 5.875 million jobs created in the first 10 months of office because we've gotten a vaccine and people feel more comfortable with that, and now we've increased our jobs by actually opening things back up. Not to the fullest extent of what we were before, but we're starting to reopen. Now you have the mass exodus going on in the work field right now because people are tired of the vaccine mandates and didn't want to deal with that crap. They're leaving their jobs to start their own businesses, which is good, but it's really a sign of the fact that they're tired of the private sector and corporations telling them what to do and all the red tape that the government is putting on corporations that they have to abide by. They're just going out and doing their own thing, becoming freelance workers, becoming private contractors, and there's nothing wrong with that. When Trump created jobs in the first 10 months of his administration, he created 1.799 million jobs in the first 10 months. Now, that was with a kind of rocky economy from Barack Obama, but let's remember the scenario there, shall we? We're coming out of Barack Obama. Donald Trump wins the election in November. He announces, hasn't even done anything yet, announces that he's going to be cutting taxes. And the economy takes off. Boom. They try to put it, look at what Barack Obama did going into the last little bit of his office. He had one of the longest recession recoveries in American history. So let's put that aside, Barack Obama. I don't want to talk about you for a second. Donald Trump wins the election in November. He just announces that he's going to do tax cuts on private sector, and business booms. Corporations start reinvesting in themselves. People start expanding their businesses. They start hiring more individuals. The economy already starts rocking because of the announcement, not even the implementation, but the announcement of good jobs under Donald Trump. If you remember, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, he didn't get any massive tax cuts until the fourth quarter of his first term. We're about at the same state right now in the Trump administration that we are in the Biden administration when Donald Trump actually got massive tax cuts. Because when he first got into office, it was all about the lockdown with DACA and with the immigration issue and all these other things. And then he ended up passing tax cuts at the end of the year, right around this time, after the economy was already booming. And then it just took off even more so from there, and he fine-tuned it and actually made more jobs, and we know the story. But he didn't even cut taxes until the economy was already rocking, and it took it to an entirely another level. That's from anticipation of the government getting the hell out of the private sector. Joe Biden, imagine this, how pathetic you have to be to try to claim that the only success you have in your first 10 months of an administration is to claim that you brought jobs back that were there prior to, that had to leave because of a global pandemic, and now they're back, and you're saying that's job growth. We still have over a 4% unemployment rate, nowhere near what Trump had it at when he ended up before the pandemic and ended up leaving office. This is pathetic. It really is. But this is all they have because they have nothing else to run on going into a midterm election. And it's funny on their little chart here, they only used Republicans since Ronald Reagan because they want to try and use this for a political point going into midterm elections. The Democrat socialist policies of higher taxes, higher regulation, and government control is somehow creating jobs. And it's not. You've passed one piece of legislation in 10 months. You've signed over 60 executive orders, and you're trying to say that you've done something heroic in some way successful, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
With Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time.
The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right you are. 24 minutes past the hour. I'm feeling good. Ready to rock and roll. Ready to fight the good fight like we do every single day. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Monday here on the Voice of Reason. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Programming note for you. I have been super diligent at work over the weekend. Got to be honest, getting tired of like 7-day work weeks, but it's all fun. It's all good stuff, and we're growing. We're expanding. We're doing really awesome stuff. Trying to add some more features to the website, which you can go to the website at HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com. There is now, for those, and we have some that listen to the Podbean live stream. We do live stream as well, audio-wise, on Podbean, which is our host for our podcasting site, and you can listen to it there. We have a little chat room, which you can go on to, and you can listen to it if you're not near a radio station that broadcasts near you. So you can go to podbean.com or HooserReason.podbean.com and you can find our profile there. But now we've officially gotten the live stream onto the website to where you can listen to the audio on the website at HooserReason.com. So you can just go there. You can listen to the live audio feed there. I think I'm working out some kinks with it, and it's a new feature from Podbean to where I just went on to kind of monitor it, and it sounded kind of choppy and kind of weird. So not sure why. Might be something on there, might be something on my end. I'm not sure. We're still working out that kink, but it's a brand new feature we just got on the website. I've also updated some of the blogs on the website because I realized I didn't post. It's on the newsletter that you get at the beginning of every month, but I hadn't posted the blog on the website as well. So I got that up there. We've been adding a lot of our social media links on there. We're adding some of our partners. We have some really big news coming up here in the next couple weeks. I don't know when I should announce it because it's not quite set up yet. I want to make sure it's all good to go. So I have that, and stay tuned in here on the show, and you can find that as well. But we'll have a new outlet for you to be able to find the show and watch us, which is really, really awesome. And I'm talking like really, really big platform. So stay tuned in for that opportunity and some information as well. So we're just growing like a weed, and 2022 is going to be a really awesome year, and I'm super excited about it. All right, Peter Navarro coming up at the bottom of the hour here in just a couple of minutes, former Trump advisor. We'll get him on. This economy thing is absolutely ridiculous. Looking at this is according directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is not some right-wing news source, some crazy blog, some obscure news site. This is directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I want you to think about this while we try to get the economy back on track. Unemployment was hovering around just under 3% under the Trump administration, all the way up until February of 2020 when the pandemic hit. We shut things down, jumped up at near 15% unemployment by between, March, April, whatever. Unemployment skyrocketed there. And now since then, we've slowly trickled back down and back down and back down, trying to get people back into the workforce. Now we're hovering right around 4% again. There has been zero job growth outside of getting people back to where they were before. No one can claim that there has been job growth in the nation. There has been a reinstitution of what was a little bit, but not something new. If we created 6 million, put this into perspective for a second. If we had, let's just say, on average, a 3% unemployment rate under Trump, and it hovered over that with Biden going into the new administration, let's say a pandemic never happened. And let's just say a 3% unemployment rate was the unemployment rate for Trump and then for Biden coming in. 6 million new jobs would make it a 0% unemployment. We would have more workers out there than what was actually on unemployment before, and we'd be having to bust people in left and right just to cover that with new jobs being created. That's the type of mentality that they think they can get away with by lying to you, saying that they've created 6 million jobs or 5.8 million jobs, whatever, in the first 10 months of the administration. It doesn't even logically make sense. But then again, what from the left-wing progressives actually does make sense when they try to claim victory on something they didn't even do. But it's a state of paranoia, it's a state of panic, it's a state of desperation because they have nothing else to run on. You got to remember, in national politics going into a midterm election, you piggyback off of the record of what the administration who's in charge is doing to say, if I get elected as a Democrat congressional candidate across the nation, I'm going to continue this agenda X, Y, and Z that we're doing so great on at the federal level. They can't do that. It's going to hurt them all across the board. Republicans are going to take over in the midterm elections, and we're going to start getting things back on track. We just have to stay vigilant. Peter Navarro coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
when reason meets radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be watching or listening. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. So during the break, call up our guest, Peter Navarro, former Trump advisor. Great guy. Author of the book as well, In Trump Time, a Journal of America's Plague Year. And he goes, ooh, totally meant to try and reschedule this. I'm about ready to go on a TV interview. Can we do something different? So we'll get him on the show later on this week. We'll reschedule and talk with Peter. Great guy, wonderful individual. You would think that, and I've seen this so many times before, this is why the Trump administration was so unique, that everybody in the administration was so accessible. They reach out to, large markets and small markets and national shows and local shows all over the place, and they're so open to talk about everything. Try and get a hold of the Biden administration. Try and get a hold of Joe Biden himself. First off, he won't remember you because he doesn't remember himself half the time. See what I did there? But at the same time, the Trump administration was extremely transparent and open to try and get their message across, which helps, by the way, with campaigning and networking. It also helps with people actually understanding what the hell's going on for you and I, and for people who may not be involved as heavily into politics, even after the administration. So we'll get Peter Navarro on the program here soon, but he was about ready to take a TV interview. He's like, maybe I can do it for a couple of minutes. And I said, no, don't worry about it. And we'll get him on for an extended period later on this week. So no, nothing off there, which is quite all right because we got plenty to talk about. So let's get into what's trending here on the program.
What's trending today?
I got a message, by the way, on one of the social medias that said, Andy, when are you going to make your announcement on the big news that you have for 2022? I want to make sure it will come this week. We'll put it this way. We're going to do it this week because it may be happening by this week or the end of this week or next week. I'm waiting for a few little technical things to make sure that it's going to work, make sure everything's running smoothly. I don't like to say anything until it's actually done, so that way we don't try and give some false hope here, kind of like the Biden administration. Again, see what I did there? I'm on a roll today. Thank you. I'll be here all day for the stand-up comedy show. So we'll have some big news coming up here in the next week or so, and things will be happening in the next week or so. We're also working on some really, really cool upgrades with the website, with some of the social media stuff. If you notice, if you do go to the website, HooserReason.com, we have some new features on there already as well with the live stream audio. We also have some new cool stuff and some new graphics and things looking good. I've been, playing around with some of the graphic design stuff and getting some new logos on there. So just some nice flashiness to keep things upbeat. And you can always check that out at HooserReason.com and the websites and all the social media with the handle at HooserReason. That's HOOSER. All right. As we talk about the lack of approval from the Democrats and Joe Biden, right now New Hampshire's come out with a new poll for Joe Biden showing that his approval rating is in the tanks, by the way, and that's his home territory, isn't it? That whole northeastern corner of the country. His own area doesn't like what he's doing. In a survey conducted last week for Thursday and Friday for the New Hampshire Journal, Biden's overall favorable and unfavorable ratings showed 43 to 56%, meaning 43% people saw him favorable, 53% is unfavorable. Republicans led Democrats 47 to 42 on the generic poll in terms of which party voters would prefer to be in the majority of Congress. So again, people wanting Republicans to be there, that's fun, 47 to 42%. Of unaffiliated voters, 57% had a strong unfavorable view of Biden, while 59% of swing voters felt the exact same way. That's huge. I don't know if you understand the impact of a poll like that. Now, you could get something like that in Nebraska. You could get something like that in Texas. You could get something like that here in Kansas, where I'm based out of. You could maybe get some of that in some of the other regions. But in New Hampshire, a far-left progressive state doesn't like what Joe Biden's doing. And again, we've talked about it before. It puts them in a bind. What are they going to do? Do they boot him out and put Kamala Harris in? Do they find a new replacement for Kamala and then boot him out? Do they just put Kamala Harris in power? What do they do? She's got a lesser approval rating than him. But this is huge because what are they doing as a Democrats as a whole right now as the party? Again, not focused on current events. We have a debt ceiling. Just to remind you, we have a debt ceiling that needs to be discussed before the end of the year. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to decide whether we have to raise the debt ceiling or not. Now, Mitch McConnell said, again, this is Mitch McConnell. You can take him or leave him because he says one thing and then does something else, or he just gets really wishy at times and then he tries to get hardline at other times as well. You don't know what to expect from Mitch McConnell as the head of the Republicans on the Senate side. He said that they weren't going to raise the debt ceiling, and he said if you're going to do it, you're going to have to do it without Republicans. That was like 2 months ago when we were debating the infrastructure bill, 2 or 3 months. Now he's saying, we're just going to have to because it's just going to have to be done. So more than likely, we'll see the debt ceiling be raised again because it's really not a ceiling. It's just, it's an arbitrary line. Let's go ahead and just cross it and we'll just raise it up later instead of actually keeping us intact financially and economically in the country by us not raising the debt ceiling, printing off more money and creating massive inflation like we're seeing right now at a 6.8% inflation rate nationally across the country. So instead of dealing with those issues, instead of even focusing on the Build Back Better plan, which is what Joe Biden's doing, but the rest of the Democrats in Congress are not doing, they're focused on other issues. They're doing their own special pet projects. And to them, when they don't have an agenda to run on, and they realize the Build Back Better plan is not a popular agenda to run on for the midterm elections, they have to find something else. The Build Back Better plan is supposed to be, which is why Joe Biden's campaigning on it really, really hard right now. It's supposed to be the grand legacy of the Biden administration and to move Democrats into the midterm elections this year as well. It's what it's supposed to be. The $5 trillion spending, this is our budget, this is what we're going to do. We're going to rebuild infrastructure, not from what they tried to say, not from our grandparents' infrastructure, but build it anew so that way we can have more environmentally friendly things.
Time to stop just kind of repairing our grandparents' infrastructure.
Yeah, that was Sharice Davids on the campaign trail in Kansas City. Congresswoman out of Kansas as well from the 3rd District there. Hardcore lefty, a AOC wannabe. She's part of the squad, but she tries to keep a little bit quieter. Wait, they don't want to rebuild the grandparents' infrastructure. They want their own infrastructure bill now. They want to do something new. They want to do something. If they rebuild the whole country, that would be a legacy for Democrats to run on. But yet they realize it's extremely unpopular. They're trying desperately to get enough attention to it just to try to pass it. So what are Democrats doing? They're trying to find their own ways going into a midterm election. They don't want to campaign on that. They don't want to focus their attention on that. They want to focus on what Democrats do best, which is going back to the old well and trying to find ways to attack Republicans, which Donald Trump is still that face of the Republicans. Which is why they're not only going for a committee to investigate the January 6th investigation issue by the mostly peaceful protest, and I love using that term of the mostly peaceful protest in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. They're now also going after the Trump response to COVID-19. Why? Why? What could have Joe Biden done any better? Because Joe Biden said he was going to eradicate COVID-19 within the first few months, get us back on track, and by the beginning of summer, have everything back open, everything opened up and ready to go again. And it hasn't happened. Now they blame it on the unvaxxers because, people that are unvaccinated are just killing people and spreading the virus all over the place. Yeah, and it's crap. It's crap. It's not true, but that's what they try to say. So that's their argument is, well, there's, again, always an excuse, never personal responsibility or taking credit for anything. It's always, they didn't allow us to go as far as we needed. That's the old adage right now, isn't it? Socialism didn't fail in the past. It just wasn't implemented to the fullest extent because there were always the naysayers that tried to say no and stop us. If we could just implement socialism altogether 110%, it would work beautifully in my nice little fantasy land where I chase dragons every day. But that's where the Democrats are right now. So the Democrats trying to build their own legacy to run for re-election of, hey, I went after Donald Trump even after he was out of office. I pursued the January 6th committee to investigate what really happened with that mostly peaceful protest. I tried to investigate to see whether Donald Trump handled the pandemic appropriately because they have nothing else. Now look at the difference here, shall we, between administrations. Donald Trump started something during the pandemic by creating a special committee run by the Vice President of the United States. It was the COVID-19 Task Force, if you remember that. And nightly, I know because I was operations manager at the radio station that I work at, and I would come in the evenings for a 2 to 3 hour press conference, staying late because Donald Trump wanted to hold a press conference every single night to give an update about COVID, to talk to the media, to get an update from the task force and to see what was going on. I know because I work super long-ass nights in those nights trying to stream those, even on the weekends. I'm not complaining about it, but I remember it. I have justification. I have verification that it actually happened. What has happened during the Biden administration? They tried to use the same model. The first issue when they first came in as well. Look at the hordes of illegal immigrants coming into the nation. We need to create a task force. Kamala Harris, you're the VP. Handle the task force. It hasn't happened, and it bombed big time. They tried to push the mandates for the vaccines. They got shot down in courts. They tried to get people back into the economy. The inflation went up 6.8% year to date right now. Things are insanely bad for the Biden administration. So what do? Go back to the old well. We hate Trump. We're going to investigate Trump, and we're going to bring the Trump people to justice. That's going to be their talking points on the campaign trail. They got spooked with the election in Virginia when Democrats lost their safe haven with their governorship there. They got spooked the fact that people don't like their utopian power and taking even power away from the parents in the public schools. They got spooked with all of it. So let's go on the attack. Not for the defense of our actions and for our policies, but go on the attack of Republicans because that's all we have. And it doesn't work when you're in the majority. You have to change political tactics. You have to change campaign styles. You have to change your strategy in chess when you're winning compared to when you're losing. And with them in the majority right now, they should be on the offense. They're on the defense right now by going vicious and going nasty and going negative in their attacks. And it's already starting to bleed in. Now we have more COVID news, which we'll talk about when we come back. More COVID news about Omicron because the Biden administration doesn't know how to handle it because people aren't paying attention to him any longer. And that was supposed to be the safe haven for his administration. More coming up.
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program. And here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Last segment goes by way too fast for a Monday. We got lots more coming up all this week. We have literally every day scheduled with guests until the end of the year, so stay tuned in. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming up. We have some fun conversations. We'll start lightening up on the politics a little bit as we get closer to Christmas, because I don't want to, get your heart rate up a little. Although I do want to put the bug in your ear so that way it's stewing in your mind, and then you lash out at the family dinners for Christmas time. Be like, it'd be hilarious. I'd love to see some of the response on those. We need to start doing that. We need to start having videos of family dinners of people losing their minds on political issues. I just think that'd be entertaining. Why? Because we need to talk about these issues. We have to have the conversation at the dinner table. We have to have the conversation at the family dinners. We need to talk about the issues. Don't put the blinders on and ignore it. Talk about it. Talk about it with your family. Talk about it with your kids, especially. Talk about it with your relatives. And if they don't like it, then they can just not talk about it. But let them know where you stand. That's just the kind of guy I am, though. That's what I do. That's why a lot of the family during my family dinners are like, Andy's here. Yeah. And you know what? Hey, you know what? They can agree or disagree. I don't really care one way or the other. I think it's kind of entertaining. So we have new news from the Omicron variant and from COVID-19 is we have a new push to try and get more vaccine boosters. Yeah, I know.
What's trending today?
So Dr. Anthony Fauci, the head of the NIH and the guy that's supposedly leading us through this entire pandemic, because he's done a swell job so far, thank you, buddy, says if it becomes necessary to get another booster, then we'll just have to deal with it. And it's all because of the concern about the Omicron variant. Now, if anybody actually looked and did any research and actually talked to doctors in South Africa where this originated from, they'd realize that it's not very dangerous in any way, shape, or form. It's less dangerous than any of the other variants. Sure, it's more transmissible, but that seems to be the focal point because during this entire pandemic, they're like, oh, Delta, more transmissible. Wait, hold on here. Is it as serious? Well, no, but it's transmissible, and it's more, you could get it easier. Okay, but is it less dangerous? Well, yeah, okay. So why do I care if I get it or not? Because it's more transmissible. See the ongoing vicious cycle here? I get in these arguments with my head because I already know the arguments they're going to make on the other side. I want to throw this out for an example. While they're starting to talk about a third booster, wait, we have one booster now, a second booster or a third booster or something else that could be widely used for the Omicron variant, because apparently now every time there's a new variant, we need to get a new booster, which is going to be the mandate here relatively soon. They're talking about in London, according to Boris Johnson, he says that right now Omicron represents 4 in 10 infections in the entire city of London, and tomorrow, quote, it'll be the majority. According to official data from the European Union and from London, or from the UK, cases are growing up by 48% in a week in worst-hit borough of Barking and Dagenham, and as the numbers continue to climb for Omicron. Now, here's the crazy part. They just hit their very first death from Omicron. Only one. One death. We have 40% of all the cases in London, which is a large amount. And it's going up by near 48% a week right now in all these other little areas in the United Kingdom. And they've had one death. Now, I don't know the health background of that person that died, because now to some that are very paranoid about this stuff, they say, well, look, somebody died. That means you need to wear the mask. You need to social distance again. You need to go get your vaccine. You need to go get the booster. You need to panic and live your life in fear because somebody died from this. Oh, my gosh. One person died. I have no clue about their medical. Were they overweight? Did they have prior existence? Because if you do, again, look at the data, again, people that have died from COVID-19 have had an average from 4 to 6 prior existing conditions or other ailments that led to the death as well that COVID-19 exacerbated, which is why you protect the people that are actually vulnerable to it and leave the rest of us the hell alone. But oh no, this is now the push to try and get you to do more vaccines. After Omicron was announced and the media did their hysteria, vaccines here in the U.S. skyrocketed again with people going out and getting it without knowing any other information. Never let a crisis go to waste. We had at the same time, obviously, with the whole tornadoes that happened over the weekend, the push for climate change, a big push for the Build Back Better plan. We'll rebuild things. Support the increase in spending for the Environmental Protection Agency. Support the spending of individuals at the federal level taking ownership of your money and your right to try and save the environment, because a look at the tornadoes that happen. Never let a crisis go to waste. Fauci, if it becomes needing another booster, we'll do another booster. We're going to mandate you to go into any public transportation, to go out in public, to go to restaurants, to go to stores, anything. Not until you only just get the vaccine, but you get the boosters as well, because then you'll be protected from the Omicron variant that has killed one person that we know of. It's the first death I know of anybody in any country from the Omicron, but be very afraid, be very scared. It's coming to infect you. And it may not do anything, but it'll infect you, and you need to be scared of that. There it is for the day. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Have a great Monday.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.